Sit back and relax for an evening with the Thamesmen.
Hello, George. How you doing, you old new romantic?
Oh, good. Hello, everyone. I am Alex, and I'm in San Francisco, and I am not a new romantic.
I'm George, and I'm an old romantic.
You old romantic lover, you. Welcome to New Romantic Week. This has been a revelation for us, hasn't it?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and thank you, Chris. Couldn't have done it without your help on this one. Sparked a whole conversation, a whole thread of emails and dialogue about the history of the New Romantics and where it all came from. Brilliant.
Yes, I'm not going to bore you too much. Go back and watch the other 3 videos, but it came from one single club. And the 3 videos we saw, from Bowie to Visage to Spandau Ballet, they all came from this small club, you know. So go back, because this whole genre is a phenomenal. It came from Little Grain in the Sand, and it's a revelation story. There should be a film about it, basically.
I think someone said there was a documentary about it somewhere, actually. I think somewhere. So
I would play Bowie, of course.
Oh, you mean like a feature film, would you?
Yeah. I would play Bowie. Who would you play?
I'd play, I don't know, the chef in the kitchen or something.
No, I don't think so. I think you could be a very hairy boy, George.
I've got the name for it, haven't I?
Yeah. And your boy.
No, I'm a boy, so I'm halfway there, aren't I? You know.
Yeah.
So, okay. Excellent. Well, what are we doing on this version of New Romantic?
Well, I know you got notes that Chris. Thank you, Chris, for curating. Written about each track, but we're going to be doing Duran now. I know, I'm not a Duran fan. Let's just put that out there, because I did everything to avoid Duran Duran back in the day, but I am going to give them a go because they're so important. So they were up in Birmingham and very provincial, and they saw what was happening down in this small club, and they got onto it really quickly. And I remember reading that one time that Spandau Ballet went up to Birmingham, first time they ever played outside London, and Duran said, "Oh, we want to back you," and Spandau Ballet said, "Fuck you." No way. And they really regret it, because they really would like to have a poster with Spandau Ballet backed up by Duran Duran, who ended up basically blowing the lid and taking why they're so important is because they commercialized New Romantic.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. I remember a story. I was living in a flat in London in mid-'80s, and my housemate, the guy who owned the flat, was a guy called Tim. And Tim was A&R for a big label in London, and he was telling a story that he went to a house party, and Simon Le Bon was there, and it was before they'd sort of been signed and things like that. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm Simon Le Bon, and we got a band called Duran Duran," and then Tim just goes, "Yeah, that will never fly, mate."
Where's Tim now?
I have no idea. I lost track.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to read the notes on the track we're going to do? Do you want to read the notes on the track we're going to do?
Yeah, sure. I think you kind of said a lot of them already. But this track was Planet Earth, 1981, and they are their first hit. And actually mentions New Romantics in the lyrics. They were from Birmingham, as Alex said, rather than London, and so they were regarded as being a bit provincial. A string of hits did follow this one before they became unfashionable in the late 80s and then came storming back in the 90s. No longer attached to the movement, although still keenly fashion conscious. Yeah, they always did look great, and their videos looked amazing. They were also innovative and created their own remixes. That was kind of cool. And the use of video in their live acts. They're easily the most successful New Romantic act of them all.
Yeah, so I mean, like some say that they killed the movement in a way. It's a bit like Woodstock killed the hippie movement. It became so commercialized, but they're still going today, aren't they? Duran?
Yeah, they are. And I reckon to see them live now would be kind of cool, actually, if they're any good. I think so.
I've got a bit of a secret, but when
it's now the time to let it out.
Yeah, I'm sorry about this, everyone. When this album first came out and this single, I had the single. I actually really like this, and also I think they did "Girls on Film."
And Rio
on the same album. On the same album, and I had this album. I had a mate I was at boarding school, and he was in Singapore, and he'd bring all these dodgy tapes back from Singapore, and I had their first album. And I liked this and Imagination, Flashback. Just an imagination.
Yeah.
And I really dug this track when it came out.
Yeah. They were really good, or are really good, should we say. So yeah. Excellent. So let's listen to this. Duran Duran, Planet Earth, their first hit.
This is Planet Earth.
Are you going to sing along?
Am I going to sing?
Are you going to sing? Are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Great bass. Cool. it's a well-written song.
It is brilliantly written. Honestly, though, the Spandau Ballet I preferred. The Spandau Ballet felt a lot fuller. Maybe it's just that recording because it's a very pop song. I found it quite flat in its, I don't know, audio. So it was a perfect pop song, but I wished it had a little bit more edge to it. You know, a little bit more, like a little bit, maybe just a bit more punch in the sound or something like that.
I don't think they were edge. I think that they were package. And they really did have the package. It was
great looking, great style, great.
Absolutely, they're all great looking. Le Bon, at the front, but really well dressed. The production was. They even had hand claps in there, right? So what you're going for a hit when you got hand claps in there. And
that's the secret to a hit, is it? Hand claps.
Do you know how they do hand claps in the studio?
Well, sometimes they do it with actual hand claps, but yes.
Yeah, but and sorry, I kind of gave it away. When you do the hand claps, do you know what you wear?
No.
Rubber gloves.
Oh, really?
Yeah, washing up gloves. And that's what gives it that hand clap
that
sound.
Smack, doesn't it?
That smack, that perfect smack. There you go. But so obviously they were taking it onto the even though Depeche Mode went into a global band, they were a lot more polished. The package of that was a lot, a lot.
Duran, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, not Depeche Mode.
And that's why they probably became one of the most successful, easily the most successful new romantic band there was.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I remember that whole era, because do you remember Simon Le Bon? He had his sailing boat that sank.
Yeah.
What was it called? Drum or something like that? Was it
Titanic 2?
Yeah, it was pretty much, wasn't he? He had to be rescued or something, didn't he?
Yeah, but I was also listening to the whole sound of the song, and they were a really unique sounding band. If you were to hear them now, and I would have thought, we're talking 40 years later, you would still know it's Duran.
Yeah, of course, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They were iconic in their way, yeah.
But I could, even now I can hear it in my head. It's where the Spandau Ballet was driving, it was raw, it was it was just raw. That was polished, but even that, it polished. I can hear what the Duran sound is.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. They absolutely had their own footprint, didn't they? So what do we know?
Going back in time, would you now we're kind of respecting the music more? Do you think now we know what you went back, would you have got into the new romantic scene more?
Probably not, because I had such a good time doing what I was doing, and it's my first band I ever saw was Black Sabbath, and after that moment I was kind of lost, I think, probably. So would you be like gelling your hair and
there was a definite bit of the new romantic, or it wasn't the new romantics bit that I liked. I was really into Ultravox, right. And I was really into Yazoo because of the synth and the really raw, some of the really raw keyboard sounds. I really like some of them, really cool. But there's a couple of tracks off the Ultravox Vienna album which I absolutely adore.
Oh yeah, but Ultravox Vienna, that is spectacular. That's again one of those absolute classics, isn't it?
Yeah, but half of Visage was Ultravox.
Right, yeah.
And it spawned. It just everyone went out and bought synths. That was it. Everyone wanted to start a synth band. And the New Romantic started all that synth stuff, which then went in. And if you listen to the drums, it's drum beats, it's a drum machine and synth. And that basically led on to early house,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So what would you say about Tainted Love? Because that was one of my favorite tracks of the era, I'd say.
Freaking genius track.
That is genius.
Genius track. And Blue Monday. But that
Blue Monday. But you see, Blue Monday was like the original dance 12-inch, really, in some ways. The 12-inch of Blue Monday was like pre electronica dance music kind of thing.
And that didn't come out the New Romantic. That came out of Joy Division, and then obviously Curtis, he didn't make the US tour and he died, and then they didn't know what to do, so they hung around in America and they went clubbing. Right. New Order, the boys went clubbing, and they were an indie band, and they heard kind of disco and house and whatever, and they came back and they said, right, we're going to ditch a guitarist and get synths, and everyone said you can't do that, and they came out with Low Life, an amazing album. And then they came out with Blue Monday, which was the biggest hit out. You're absolutely right. The biggest 12-inch there ever was.
I used to do
apart from mine.
Oh, go for the low fruit.
Oh, that's what she said. Sorry, everyone.
You really lowered the. This was a serious conversation.
I know,
and it was just anyway.
As soon as I said that, it's like. As soon as I said that. I said I should say it rather than you.
No, so what I was going to say, some time ago, for whatever reason, I did an indie disco at the university I was at, and we would play tracks, and every time you did indie disco, you had to play Blue Monday. It was just like that was it. Blue Monday, got to play it. So,
yeah.
It was.
Well, we could it be on the list? No, it's not, because it's not New Romantic. Well, thank you, everyone. We've got maybe 1 or 2 more days in New Romantic, so
how we're feeling. Yeah. But we can always do more. But please like, subscribe, hit the bell, and join us on Patreon, please.
Yeah, we've got Bowie Week coming up. We got Australia Week coming up. We've got a lot of that stuff. So yeah, and we got tomorrow. All right, see ya.